Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids. I am back on Varis' account, and I've just finished recording my video on Angar, and I'm curious to see what people think about that one. But while I was on the account, we're being a little bit cheeky. Because this guy is empowered +4, but we have a Soulless here, and I've never actually played with Soulless ever before. So I thought Varis said it's okay if I go and I give Soulless a spin. So we're going to do the exact same thing, in fact, as we did in the Angar video, almost. We're going to give him a spin in Arena, first of all. But then I also want to try him out in the Hydra clan boss, because I think he's going to be exceptionally good for that. So what does Soulless do? What makes him so good? So his A1, single target attack, has a 50% chance to stun. It's actually not bad. His A2 is a triple hit at random. Each hit has a chance to remove all buffs, and then it places a provoke debuff for 1 turn. If a buff was removed, the provoke debuff cannot be resisted. I don't know if that part's super useful, seeing as you'd think to remove the buffs, you need to have enough accuracy anyway, so they probably wouldn't resist it. But I guess, there's that lucky chance and all of that. It removes the 3% chance to be resisted, I suppose, which is okay. Then his A3 is his big move here. AoE attack that increases the duration of all debuffs on each target by 1 turn, and places provoke on all enemies for 1 turn, and puts a shield buff on him for 2 turns, equal to 30% of the damage inflicted. And he does more damage for each debuff on the target. Now, one thing about Soulless as well, all of his damage scales off of defense, but he has really good multipliers. This is a champion that can smack hard. He really can. So I'm very excited to see what he can do. He's got a defense 44% in faction crypts, which is a really good aura. With his masteries, he's been built out like so. This is for Arena. So he's got Helm Smasher for damage. Now, if you're using him just for Hydra, you would run War Master for more damage. But I think Helm Smasher is going to be fine. We're going to test it out anyway. Then he's got the support tree for a bit more accuracy, like more accuracy for enemies alive and accuracy here. He does have Evil Eye as well. So again, I mean, for Hydra, you wouldn't take Evil Eye. You go and you take something like Cycle of Magic or Lore of Steel, and so on. I don't think either Master Hexer or Sniper actually does anything, because you can't extend his debuffs, and his debuffs also, you can't increase his potential to place them either. So there is that. In terms of the build we have here, again, remember, this is an empowered Soulless. He's going to be very strong. He's got 44,000 HP, 5,000 defense. He's got good speed here, 227, 100% crit rate, 248% crit damage, 264 resist, and 312 accuracy. So I mean, he's got good stats. It's not crazy though. This is not the craziest gear ever. I'm sure if you really wanted to, you could build him with better gear, but I think it's going to be just fine for a show. We got some rare pieces and stuff, it's not crazy. It's very, very good, but it's not completely crazy. You can go watch some other videos with like +4 champions and you'll see what I mean. So let's dive in here. We were testing out some Angar stuff. Let's try this team. So this is obviously, we've got a bunch of empowered champions. This is super powerful. But the concept of how this team should work, Sifi should be the fastest she is. So Sifi is going to speed boost us and give us that increased defense. It's the hard thing about Soulless in Arena, is champions that give you increased defense can be somewhat rare. I do think Soulless is going to work very well with a Mithrala team. Yeah, maybe like I did a video recently with Harvest Jack and Bolster set. You might want to check that out. I think Soulless would be a good damage dealer in that team. We use a couple of champions in a Bolster set, a Mithrala to cleanse them. Mithrala can give increased defense as well. So that maybe would give you some potential. So there's some potential right there. But yeah, Soulless in there for that. Anyway, Sifi's going to get this really perfect. This is like a perfect team for Soulless, right? Increased defense, increased speed, turn meter, fill, block, debuffs. Then I think Lady Kimmy, Lady Kimmy's up next. She's going to give us increased speed, increased accuracy, and turn meter. Kymar is going to come in, put them to sleep, and strip their buffs with that increased accuracy. Then Soulless is going to come in and nuke them. This is like the perfect setup. You've just got everything coming in here together. Soulless, he's getting all the turn meter boost. Their buffs are being stripped. He's got increased accuracy, increased defense. It's everything he needs to succeed. So let's see how we do. Watch us get like outsped and lose or something weird. Shouldn't happen. This team, enemy team, is not speed tunes. There we go. And Soulless, bam. It's a big hit. Not the craziest hit. It actually didn't kill them, believe it or not. I thought that would do more. We don't have decreased defense out, but what we have got is we've got some pretty good control. The enemy team has been half provoked. We're going to reset stuff right here. Actually, Soulless will die. Oh, would you look at that? I didn't expect that. I was really expecting him, I'm going to be honest. I was expecting him to do more damage. That was a little disappointing. I mean, to be fair, Oof, that's a big hit. That's a very scary hit. To be fair, they did have... I mean, they do have a Duchess who's going to damage reduce and all the rest, but I really thought we would see more out of that. That was a little bit underwhelming. Ooh, we might lose this one, actually. And like I said, I feel like this is pretty much the perfect team for him. If he can't do it here, never mind. We're good. Now, she might have the revive. Terminator's been pushed back. She's been slept. She's been woken up. She didn't have it. And now Soulless is going to come in and slam them. Bang. Okay. And they're dead. So we did win, but it was messy. We won, but it was messy. To say the least. So Hegemons is going to be a bit tricky. We could try this like a Mithrala team. That's actually kind of scary. Let's refresh. No, I should attack the scary teams, huh? So this team is probably not scary enough. This team's probably not scary enough. Now we've got teams that are not scary enough. This team, this is really a speed race. Let's attack this. This is a scary one where they have Lady Kimmy Warlord. So it's really going to come down to whoever's faster. We sleep them. Good. All right, here we go. And boom, Soulless. It's a big smack. Actually, one problem, he got resisted there by Arbiter, which slightly sucks, but he's going to come back around. He's going to have another AoE. Now, he's not because it got locked out by Warlord. So not Duchess, Trunda's going to get it. Oh, and we get taken out. So right there, we did fall over. We did fall over. Damn. I mean, we're up against some tough competition here, to be fair. We could try against the Mithrala team. This should be kind of sketchy as well. Yeah, I don't know. I'm actually a little underwhelmed right now. I guess his gear isn't super crazy. If you consider that he's going in with... Yeah, I guess his gear's not super great. Like 5k defense and 240% crit damage. It's not like, for example, much higher than the stuff that I've got. So his damage output's certainly not crazy. He could hit a lot harder. Man, that does hit very hard when there's only one target left. He's not blowing people up, really. So that's definitely a problem. Let's see how he does against a Necret team. And he wasn't tanky enough to live against Candrafon. Candrafon still cut through him like butter, even though he has 5k defense. Candrafon don't care. We come in, we actually land the provoke. That's what's really nice about him right there, actually, because this is a speed team. We are going in early. We're landing the provoke. He tanked that Candrafon. That Candrafon didn't have increased attack. Made it a lot easier. So this team we have cut through. I don't know. I'd be curious to see him in like bigger nuking gear, you know? I think bigger nuking gear would be interesting. Yeah, I think bigger nuking gear would be interesting. Like he's hitting hard, but he's not hitting crazy hard. That's for sure. He is the best defensive nuker though in the game. Bam. I mean, the utility of landing that provoke is actually really nice because he does wake them up. It's actually pretty awesome. Well, bam. But yeah, you can see, like, he can take it. Like, again, there's very few nukers that would survive a Candrafon double hit even without increased attack. Most nukers would die. But yeah, I mean, I think he's pretty decent for this. Like, this, I think the utility is what's nice with the increased accuracy. It is the provoke alongside the big hit. That's quite good. But you could certainly build him for more damage. You could ditch you could ditch like the accuracy and crank his stuff up more. I guess that's the thing. He doesn't have the craziest base crit damage. He doesn't have insanely high defense compared to the big attack-based nukers. So yeah, it's kind of interesting, honestly. So yeah, for Arena, he seems obviously very, very solid, but he's not completely crazy, I would say. But he's been pretty good. Now, what I'm most interested in is jumping into Hydra. And we were just testing this team on hard, which is the team that we normally use here. And we were trying it out with Angar, and we were kind of struggling. Now, what I want to use for this is Soulless, because Soulless is often thought of as a nuker, not as, as a damage dealer, not as a utility-based champion. But I do think when we come into the Hydra, the fact that he has these 2 chances to provoke, I think is really, really good. Now, we are going to want to target Decay to make sure his A2 lands, so we will do that. But yeah, I think the fact he comes in with 2 sources of provoke, he also is going to come in with the debuff extension, which I think is really good, actually. Extending those debuffs. There he goes. He's landed the provoke. He's going to come in next turn and he's going to extend all of these debuffs, which I think is going to be pretty juicy. So let's see. One thing we could actually do, in fact, let me restart this. I think it is going to be better to start with the 2 Hanorach, starting with her A2. I think is what we want right there. Open with her A2, which is going to put out block buffs and decrease attack. Because we do want to block the Poison Cloud, and we want to block any buff steals and stuff that Mischief does. So this is the exact same team comp that we ran in the Angar video. But as you can see, this time we've got a few more debuffs out, which is cool. Oh, I forgot. Okay, whoops. I forgot to target. I forgot to target Decay. So that's going to be a problem with this, right? With to make him work, Soulless work, because it's a random hitter, 3 hits at random, you do want to manually target his A2 every single time. But it does give you a 3-turn cooldown, 100% chance provoke, which is pretty awesome. And then his AoE is 4 turns. So just to get as many provokes out as possible, I think that is what we want to do. So here we go. This has gone, in my opinion, really, really well. So here we come around to Soulless in a sec. Bam, he lands a provoke. He extends all the debuffs. Wow, oh my god, look at the size of that shield. I didn't notice that in the arena, but it really stands out here. And it got stolen. Well, rip. Feels bad. We don't have a Mischief tank in this composition. Now we've got 1 turn with Soulless where he's going to do his A1. So this is for the moment of truth. Can he come back? We've got decreased speed. Unfortunately, he's had his buff stolen by Mischief. And Mischief has also therefore been stealing his turn meter. But it looks like, despite not having increased speed and having that turn meter stolen, that he is going to... There he goes. He comes back around and he lands the provoke. At this point, I'm going to untarget this head so we can start smacking what we want. I think that's going to be nice. I'm just loving this super consistent coverage of debuffs as well. I think it's actually great. Yeah, I think it's actually really, really nice. So there we go. Is he coming around to his A3 next? It might be a little bit awkward. Yeah, so right here, he's actually outrun Decay significantly. The size of that shield when they're decapitated. Look at that shield. So, yeah, we've got a slight problem there. Let's actually manual it slightly. So he's not super auto-friendly just because of how that targeting works. Slam in with this. AoE all of these. Okay, and then we'll hit auto. Great. So he's got... We're good. We're all good. Oh my god, I can't get over the size of the shield. But yeah, I can tell you... Again, you'll need to have watched the Angar video, I'm sorry, to get full context. But we ran this composition first with Angar in this slot. Then we ran it with Kantra in this slot. We actually found that with this exact team comp, because this team comp doesn't really enable Kantra very well with just the heads we have starting off in this rotation, and we were kind of struggling there. But we found with Angar that it actually worked great. Yeah, but Angar, he wasn't very consistent at all with provoking. He's actually pretty bad at it, which is funny, seeing as he would be really considered to be the provoke legendary in a lot of ways, the provoke void. But so far, let's be real, Soulless has absolutely come in and done a better job. He's done a much better job. We just cut through Head of Decay without Head of Decay getting a cleanse once. Soulless has done a fantastic job. The only real issue we're running into here is that we don't have a Mischief tank with this team. So he's getting his stuff still. Like, we could easily replace Royal Guard. That would be my play here. I think you've got more than enough damage with Cupidus and Soulless. Bearing in mind, Soulless should be doing pretty good damage too. He's going to be a bit neutered, unfortunately, by Mischief stealing his stuff. But Soulless should be doing pretty good damage. We don't really need that Royal Guard in there helping, you know? We don't really need him in there helping for damage. So we could bring in a Mischief tank and make this like a real clean run, potentially. Bam, we've ripped through these heads. Beautiful. Oh, we've got our first consumption. Okay. Oh, that's actually kind of nice. We've got the decreased defense out there. Well, guys, I'm going to let this, I think, run out. I'll come back to you when some more stuff happens. But so far, it's very fun for me, having done like these 3 different Hydra comps in a row, and seeing how they go. But yeah, like the Soulless one, I can tell you right now, is much more impressive than the other comps you ran. I'm super impressed with him so far. I think this is really good. So I'll be back. Okay, coming up to it, actually, we might have Soulless try to strip buffs here. I'm curious to see if that will work. He might get around to... No, never mind. Okay. Oh, here we go. We might get to see him here. Boom! Look at that. That's actually a really nice thing that Soulless brings as well. But it's not only that he's provoking, but he also is stripping buffs. With his triple hits at random, they do strip buffs, all buffs off the target. That's actually really awesome. He's just a mega tank. He's stripping buffs, he's provoking, and hopefully doing good damage. He just hit for 100k. He just hit for 100k. All right, cool. All right, sorry. I'll be right back again. Oh, don't steal off Soulless, you jerk. Unbelievable. All right, guys. So here we are. Man, look at this. I want to show you, we're coming up to the end of the run. We're over 200 turns in. But one of the things, of the many things I'm loving here about Soulless, he is so damn tanky. This is definitely a team where people die all the time. We're probably going to wipe now when Duchess gets eaten because everyone else is low. This is a team that wipes a lot, okay? Like, people die a lot, right? It happens. But Soulless, because he has so much defense, and he's giving himself a huge shield, but he is super tanky. This guy just doesn't die. He just doesn't die. One thing we're going to do, we will just try to make sure that we land I'll do the AoE hit. Cool. Yeah, we'll just try to make sure to land the provoke here. So let's go for the single target provoke first. Okay. And then we'll leave them off on auto again. But yeah, to put this in context, right, as well, for this damage, in case you didn't see the Angar video, we ran this team several times. We ran it with Angar. Then we ran it with Kantra. Now we're running it with Soulless. With the Kantra version, unfortunately, this team just doesn't have a lot of debuff, so it wasn't set up for success with Kantra. And that wasn't really Kantra's fault, but that team, it wiped at like 4 million or something for me. Maybe it was a bit of an unlucky run, but that's what happened, okay? I did another run with it to check, and it wiped around, I think it was about 28 million was when it wiped, but it wiped again. It just was really lacking that control because Kantra didn't have enough debuffs to enable her. With Angar, which was the best run that we had, with Angar, okay, we got 44 million. By switching Soulless in for Angar, we have more than doubled our damage, which is just, it's beyond crazy. It's just beyond crazy, to be honest with you. Like, I think that is just so impressive. Like, here you go. You see right there, bam, big AoE smack. All the others flopped over dead, and Solas survived. Now, he did get eaten, so I think that's him a goner, pretty much. Well, maybe Royal Guard will have a slam and not die. I'm a bit scared for Royal Guard's health. Oh no, we're at the point now where everybody's getting eaten. Okay, yeah, okay, everyone. Oh my God, really, everyone's being eaten. I guess that's what happens when you're, 235 turns in. Right. Well, he's not getting free. Goodbye, Soulless. It was nice knowing you. We'll see if we can. Never mind. Okay, and he's eaten. We've got one more turn left on her. Though luckily they can't actually eat her. So she's going to get to keep going for a little while more. But yeah, she's about to be eaten. And yeah, there we go. She's trying her best to break him free, and she's gone. So 94.63 million damage, guys. Look at that performance. Look at that performance. Insane. Like, yeah, I know I keep going on about it. But for me, having run these teams one after another, it's just the difference that one OP champion makes. He is S+ tier for Hydra. I'm telling you right now, Soulless is S+ tier. The difference that one of those champions makes can be just, it's night and day. It's just so shockingly clear. But yeah, like I said, from 44 million to 94, we did an additional 50 million damage compared to this team with Angar instead. Now, to be fair, they're geared slightly differently. Soulless is obviously empowered +4. That's giving him a lot of power, but he's not in the craziest gear, as we saw. But if you have a Soulless, I thought he was fine in Arena. Like, he was a good nuker, but he didn't blow my mind. I thought, okay, he's a good nuker. It's fine, but he's not blowing my mind. If I was to pull a Soulless, I think he can. You clearly saw at the start of the video, he can work like this in Arena. He's going to be good in Arena. He's going to be good. But for me, if I got a Soulless, I'm building him for Hydra because I thought he's good in Arena, but he is so good in Hydra. Oh my God. He did second top damage. Royal Guard just beat him. This is, I think, a 260 speed Royal Guard, so that's crazy. Obviously, on the higher difficulties, Royal Guard is going to pull further ahead because Royal Guard's damage goes up kind of proportionate to the max HP and all that. So Royal Guard will be better on the higher difficulties, sure, but the utility that Soulless is, not only is he doing crazy damage, he beat Cupidus. He beat a freaking Cupidus alongside a Venus. But not only is he doing extremely good damage, but he is bringing you a provoke on a 3-turn cooldown that strips off the buffs. And let me tell you, on this team where our control's not the best necessarily, like we don't have a mischief tank, So we were stripping off buffs quite frequently. It's really good utility. Being able to remove buffs is super handy. And then it also gives you that 3-turn provoke for decay. Then he has the 4-turn provoke as well. 2 provokes and that 4-turn provoke extending all the debuffs. Again, buff stripping and extending debuffs are extremely strong here. And neither of those is getting represented in this damage. Also, on top of that, he's just super tanky because he has so much defense. He takes hits like the rest of them. Basically what was happening was that the Hydra would nuke us and Venus, Royal Guard, and Cupidus were dying all the time. Tuhanarak, Duchess, and Soulless then were just sort of sitting there. They get smacked and be like, yeah, we're fine. It's totally cool. Especially when Soulless could actually keep his shield up, right? That massive shield he gives himself with his A3. So, yes. What do I think of Soulless? I am insanely impressed by him. I think this is an incredible Hydra champion. And yeah, I think the keys to making him work in Hydra, I think good speed, 100% crit rate, enough accuracy. You need about 260 for hard. I'm not sure what brutal is. Brutal is probably about 320, and then you probably want about 400 for nightmare. Something along those lines. You want to double check that off the top of my head. Yeah, and I think he's going to work in a variety of team comps. You just want to make sure you've got increased defense on your team if you want to get the most damage out of him as possible. But you can even sacrifice the crit damage a bit. You could leave him at like 200% crit damage. He's going to be fine. He doesn't really need any HP. Like, you literally don't need to build any HP on him. He's got almost 20k baseline. He's not going to die. He gives himself a big shield. Let's crank his defense up. Give him good speed and accuracy, crit rate, some crit damage. He's going to pump out really good damage and have huge utility. This is, for me, an insanely impressive champion. The 50% chance to stun A1 is also really good. We didn't even get to see that really being useful, but he just smacks. He just smacks. Yes, I am super impressed. Wow. Soulless has just become really just jumped up my list. He's way jumped up my tier list now for Voids after seeing that performance. I think he is an exceptional provoker for Hydra. He's very consistent with provokes. Very, very good provokes because he's got 2 100% chance provokes. Very good weaving those together. If you're playing it full manual, it would be even better. And then extending the debuffs, hitting harder, shielding, stripping buffs. It's 10 out of 10, honestly. 10 out of 10. There you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I'm impressed. Now, I will say, by the way, final tip, I will say with this particular team, again, this team is still not amazing. I know we just got 90 million on hard. It's still not amazing. What I would do, believe it or not, I'd actually switch out the Royal Guard, who we don't really need. He's doing great damage. That's cool. I'd actually put in Aboro. I think Aboro is the choice here. The reason being that Aboro will mischief tank. We've got loads of debuffs with Soulless extending, right? So she's going to be doing AoE A1s very frequently. And yeah, I think she's going to be plenty survivable with Duchess and with Tuhanarak trying to keep her alive. Definitely the biggest thing that messes up this team right here is the Head of Mischief. The Head of Mischief can steal your buffs, steal your turn meter. You saw it in the sample of the run that you saw. So that definitely throws things off. I think Aboro fixed. She's still going to do really good damage. Aboro is still going to put out good damage. And then the other thing I really like about her, because she puts up 4 buffs on herself, was to increase crit rate, crit damage, perfect fail. Obviously, you get perfect fail here. Revive on death. She's got 3 buffs. 3 extra buffs. I think that's very important to give her that extra reliability. So that makes it that even though with Tuhanarak throwing out continuous heals around the place with Duchess shields, I think Aboro has enough buffs to actually successfully mischief tank. That was something Angar struggled with. He gave himself 1 buff, counterattack. Wasn't enough to mischief tank with Tuhanarak Duchess. I think Aboro works, gives you really good damage, and you've got so much damage with these 3 champions right here anyway. And I think the extra control from countering mischief that Aboro would bring would actually push you further, much further, than it would running Royal Guard, believe it or not, even though he was top damage. So that would be my take on this. I'm not going to run it here. I'm going to leave that as something that Varis can do if he wants to. But yeah, again, big shout out to Varis for letting me on this account, on his account, and for letting me actually see these champions and try them out. I've really enjoyed it. But yeah, I have to say, Soulless, not only, he didn't impress me that much in Arena, but my God, for Hydra, he impressed me so much more than I expected. I was expecting him to be really good, and he blew me away. Guys, there you go. Hope you enjoyed. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.